Welcome to worship at the McPherson Church of the Brethren. We are an open and affirming congregation that strives to be hospitable and attentive to all of creation. We do not always meet that goal, and we have our share of ups and downs. But in the midst of it all, we continue to listen to God's call on our individual lives and the life of this congregation. We continue to seek to follow Jesus peacefully, simply, together. We are humbled you have chosen to worship with us. Welcome.
What a beautiful piece. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann Stover, and I am the host this morning for our church, and we want to welcome those people who are watching on YouTube or online and or on Channel 13. So I had just a lovely time Friday night watching the opening ceremony for the Olympics. How many of you watched? Was it just a wonderful message of peace and togetherness and respect? I just so love the Olympics for bringing together all the nations of the world to be together and to have friendly competition. So, having said that, I'd like to just say that we have this time to share our concerns and any joys that we may have.
Bruce Wagner. Oh, okay. Just want to report that After a long journey, hope I can hold it together, our daughter Rebecca was released Thursday from the hospital, flew back to Rhode Island on Friday, and will start her new job on Tuesday. So we are so thankful to the community for your prayers of concern and healing. And I believe that we don't always get the answer to prayers we want, but it is important that we continue to pray as a community. And I know God's unfathomable knowledge is hard to comprehend, but in this case, it manifested itself in such a wonderful medical team that took amazing care of her. And she's still not totally out of the woods, but we have another medical team in Rhode Island that will continue to monitor her. And so thank you very much for your concerns and your prayers.
Such good news.
Charlotte Lowen guess who's coming to dinner? You can sign up in the Good Shepherd foyer before and after church through February, every Sunday through February 22nd. So we would encourage you to sign up, and if you have any questions, give myself or the church office a call. Thank you.
Bill Grove here. We're pleased to have our daughter Carrie and her husband David Johnson with us today.
Roger Schrock, as you know, we have a lot of feeling for people in South Sudan. South Sudan is again at civil war. I just received a message yesterday that 280,000 people have been displaced from their homes. That's the ones that have been counted. So please pray for the folks of South Sudan.
Lois Grove. Bill and I have been a part of a lot of small churches, and we have a heart for them. And the way that they do all the things that they can do to stay vital and alive. So one way that you can help a church 20 miles from here stay alive and vital, a church that is called New Leadership from Zimbabwe, the Little River United Methodist Church, is having a pancake feed next Saturday morning. And I have to tell you, I don't know the hours. Maybe Charlotte knows. But we've got connections with Charlotte and the Hayeses and other people to that church. And I think this is a way that you could take a little drive of 20 miles and go over and support that church as they attempt to be faithful to what God is calling them to do. And Bill has reminded me, a pancake breakfast is cheaper than a steak dinner.
Philip Stover here, and I have a joy to share. Daughter Elizabeth is coming from Springfield, Missouri to spend 3 or 4 days with us during the week, and so daughters are wonderful.
Well, so are sons.
Daniel Bowen and
Mark Delaney.
on behalf of the youth group, it's the time of year where we're back to Valentine's Day cookies. So next week after church, we'll be in the foyer downstairs. Be ready to buy some cookies for your old donation.
And if you want a funny show, you should see them making them and decorating them. It's pretty funny.
I'm Catherine Whitaker, and I will be with you this Sunday and next Sunday, and then I'm finally having knee surgery and having my knee replaced. So I will be gone for a while, and you are in good hands, and thank you to worship team, and thank you to Joanna in the office, and thank you to Jerry and to Bruce and leadership who are working in the background to have everything covered so that I can attend to my knee.
And this is when we find out how important this woman really is.
Hi, I'm Becky Bowman, and as many of you have heard me saying this week, my daughter Lucy, who's at the University of Pennsylvania, is turning 18 this month. It's her first time away from home during her birthday, and so we're sending her a surprise birthday card party in the mail. I did bring a box with, I've got about 10 birthday cards left. If anybody wants to grab one after church for me and sign it, I'll just put it right in the box that I'm going to be mailing to her. And I also have her address here. If you want to try to send something to her on your own, you're welcome to do that as well.
And for those of you that may not be sort of in touch with today's tech society, she does have Venmo.
Any other announcements? Then let's prepare our hearts to worship God.
So if you looked in your worship bulletin, you'll see that this next song is also called Go Down Moses. You'll be happy to know that it's not the same version that Jean just played, so you will not have to sing those complicated chords. Malia's going to sing the first chorus, and she's going to sing the first verse. And then when we get back to the next chorus and thereon, we would love for you to join us in your singing. But also, from the get-go, we would love for you to help us by clapping along because we are lacking, well, a whole band. So the clapping should happen on beat 3. So, go down, Moses. It's like that. And she'll lead and you can follow. And if you keep it going, that would be great. And it would be great if we do it for like the entire song because it's pretty powerful. All right, I'll meet you at the end.
All right.
Okay. 1, 2.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. No more shall they in bondage toil. Let my people go. Let them come Thank you to all of you for coordinating that this morning. Ellen is gone for today. She is down in southeast Kansas with her grandbaby, who's being, I don't have the right words because they're Catholic. She's being sprinkled this morning. Sorry about that. That's kind of lame. The words for our opening this morning are very intense and very important and very long. And so I invite you to remain in your seats, to stay seated, and to really concentrate on what is being said here. These words are a compilation of words that were garnered through the On Earth Peace and the Community Peacemakers Team websites. So let's join together in raising our voices. Violence is a symptom of underlying systems of oppression. Sexism, racism, heterosexism, colonialism, capitalism, imperialism that perpetuate acts of violence. May we seek to address these root causes at an interpersonal, organizational, state, and global level, so all of creation might know blessedness and welcome. Much of our world has been violently colonized by empires throughout history and continually oppressed through racist, extractivist, and capitalist systems of destruction. May we advocate for decolonization, dismantling the systems of oppression, and moving towards systems of caregiving, balance, and mutual aid, so all of creation might know blessedness and welcome. Blessedness and welcome are grown and come to be known when partnerships are initiated and developed between local peace builders. May we commit to long-term relationships with these partners who resist oppression every day, not only during emergencies, so that all of creation might know blessedness and welcome. Creative nonviolent resistance is a tool of direct action to confront systems of violence and oppression. May we engage in these inventive challenges that are rooted in liberating love, so all of creation might know blessedness and welcome. Born out of a response to increased militarism and violence, peacemakers are a diverse group, many of whom draw inspiration for their nonviolent practices from multiple spiritual and philosophical understandings and beliefs. May we affirm and celebrate that the sacredness of peacemaking is recognized and revealed in many traditions and tongues, identities and images, colors and cultures, bringing blessedness and welcome to all of creation. We understand the value of collective liberation, whereby each act of peacemaking and each effort toward justice must pay close attention to diverse and contextually nuanced needs. May we be mindful that we cannot dismantle the structures of oppression without the knowledge and experience of our diverse identities. Together, we will overcome so that all of creation might be blessed and welcome. The grasp of the military-industrial complex on our world not only results in destabilization and defunding of our communities, but it also contributes to the ongoing climate crisis, endangering the collective survival of our global community. So being an active part of an anti-militarism movement like School of the Americas Watch, Apartheid-Free Communities, and other coalitions and initiatives that work toward dismantling false ideas that police and military keep us safe by unmasking their capitalistic underpinnings of the military. In this way, we make it evident that militarism is not about safety, but about profit. May we reject all military and police intervention and demand the reallocation of public funds toward community-based initiatives for care, so that all of creation might be saved, blessed, and welcome. Please rise and join and sing together the song, "We Shall Overcome." I invite you to be seated, and I invite children forward to spend time with Pastor Jerry.
Good morning. I know I'm not the one you usually see up here, am I? I usually stand back there and put you guys to sleep. So I'm not sure. I don't mean to put you to sleep already. Hey, you know what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a group of volunteers and paid staff who travel the world to work for justice and peace. That seems like a pretty big deal, doesn't it? It seems like maybe too big for a conversation on a Sunday morning. But what if I told you that it's not that complicated? I want to start by introducing you to a guy that a lot of the folks in the congregation knew, a guy named Ted Studebaker. Okay? I'm not going to read this book, but I want to highlight it because I was introduced to Ted by Paul and Marla Oleminek. And Ted was a Church of the Brethren biologist from Southern Ohio who volunteered to go to Vietnam during the Vietnam War to help plant crops. That's what he did. He thought that was his way of creating peace, was to find ways to feed people. Ted understood that if people were hungry, to talk about peace and justice felt really empty. And so he went and planted sustainable crops so that they could feed themselves. Now, what you may not know is that this book was created by a guy named Jim Gettner. Kansas connection. His wife, Carolyn, is a McPherson College graduate. And so we have connections directly to Ted Studebaker. I met Ted's family when I was in Ohio, and they still tell his story. Now, you guys can plant crops, can't you?
No.
You can't plant crops? You don't have a garden?
We're not young. We're too young. Garden.
Can you guys put a seed in the ground? How many of you have gardens at home, like of some kind? What kind of stuff do you grow?
We plant watermelon, peppers, and
Do you ever have so much food from your garden that you don't know how you're going to eat all that food yourself?
oh, I have one.
Yeah.
We have gooseberries.
Yeah?
That our grandpa and grandma planted in Iowa, and Mama bought some so we could plant them and eat them.
Yeah, and if you have too much, what can you do with the extra food?
Share it.
With who?
Your neighbors.
Share it with your neighbors.
Or share it with your brother and sister.
Oh. Hey, if you could share it with your brothers and sisters, could you teach my son and daughter how to share?
No.
No?
I don't know how to teach kids how to share. All I know is how to share.
All right. But did you know that's an act of peacemaking, is sharing with people? That's one of the best ways to truly create a more just and peaceful world is by sharing. I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends. And these young people, they're not young anymore. They were young when I was there in 2009. They live in a place called the West Bank in Israel, Palestine. I don't have a globe or a map to show you where that is, but it's clear on the other side of the planet. And they were about 8 years old. My friend here was 8 at that time. Too old. I was too old then, I'm too old now. I'm 51 now. But Daniel was 6 months old when I was there, so that's how long ago it was. But this was on a Friday in a town called Bethlehem. Anybody know anything specific about Bethlehem?
I heard it in a story.
Say it again.
I heard it in a story.
You heard it in what story?
The Bible.
But what's special about Bethlehem in the Bible?
That's where Jesus' son was born.
That's right. In fact, I took these pictures just around the corner from what's called Manger Square, where Jesus is said to have been born. Here are 8 and 9-year-old kids on a Friday afternoon walking around after school, and you know what they were doing? They were parading. They were marching together. Why would they do that?
Because they wanted to keep God's creation alive.
That's right. That's right. They wanted to tell everybody, hey, we're here, and we want you to see us. And so we walked with them, and we marched with them, and we heard their stories. Now, how many of you like to color? How many of you like to go to school?
Me, I only like to color.
Well, this picture is from a daycare, basically, in a town called Hebron in the West Bank. Anybody know the significance of Hebron? Anybody in the congregation? Well, someone knows. So, you know what I love about that? There's so much life in a baby's cry. It's amazing. But in this daycare, these kids are actually getting to go to school. And this may seem like not a big deal, but it's a huge deal because they're learning. And why is learning important?
Because learning makes you more smarter.
It does make you smarter, we hope, right? That's the goal. So you can help and you can make a difference. That's right. That's right. Smarties, that helps you? A lot of sugar?
No, they're special. They're making smarter.
Oh, so maybe if like high school seniors that are getting ready to graduate took a bunch of Smarties, they might do well on entrance exams going into college? All right. You are really, really just full of wisdom today. I love it. Well, I was there with the group that you're going to learn more about in a little bit called Community Peacemaker Team. And what they do is they help young people like you go to school. We walk with you. We protect you. We make sure you could go to school. And in this picture is a good friend of mine and probably a good friend of a lot of people in the congregation named Art Gish. Now, that's not a name you're expected to know. But Art spent a lot of his time in the world helping kids go to school so they can. Art Gish, he's the guy right in the middle with the beautiful beard and the stocking cap that just looks like wisdom, right? And I had the privilege of spending 2 days with Art, and he taught me the best way to help people is to listen to them. Is that something you can do? Is that something you can do to help make the world better by listening to others? So, yeah? So here's how you can help. You can plant gardens, right? Can you guys do that? Can you help make sure your friends get a chance to learn? Can you do that in your schools? Maybe you hand out Smarties. And how many of you can listen to other people instead of arguing with them? Do you know those are the keys to peacemaking? And you're well on your way to already being great peace. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I am so sorry. I'm not listening very well.
I have a question.
Please ask. I don't think he wants you to ask, but I do. No question? All right. Okay, so this week my challenge to you is to dream of how you can do small things to make the world a better place. Can you do that for me? All right, have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for your continued financial donations. You may give online at maccobbrethren.org. That's maccobb@macbrethren.org. If you are worshiping with us in person, you may put your gift in the offering box at the back of the sanctuary or hand deliver your check to the church office. Just push it through the mail slot at the Education Building. If you would like to donate from afar, you may mail your gift to the church office at 200 North Carey Street, McPherson, Kansas, 67460, or donate to local needs in your area. Thank you for sharing.
Good morning. I will be brief because there's other things more important that I'll get shared later on in worship that are much more engaging and informative. For those that maybe aren't aware of my passion and my deep love of community peacemaking team, it stems from my 2009 delegation in Palestine. And I'll kind of do a little background. Marie Benner Rhodes absolutely refused to let me say no. And she and I had many debates on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict because I came from it from the lens of being raised in a family of veterans. You may not have known that about me, but we run deep. And I am definitely the odd duck as the one who promotes peace through, diplomacy and conversation instead of power. And so I was raised that nations have a right to defend themselves. And from the information that I gleaned, Israel had a right to defend itself against Hamas and ongoing conflict. And Marie goes, Jerry, you just need to go experience it for yourself. I said, okay, but I'm not, I'm Irish. You're not going to change my mind. It's pretty set. And she goes, okay. I was wrong. Stepped foot into Tel Aviv because you can't fly into Jerusalem. And immediately it just felt like there was a different feel. There's an ethos that flows from that part of the world that just will move you. It will transform you. And we spent the next couple nights in the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem, and we stayed at the Shahimi Hotel, which is a bed and breakfast. And there I just witnessed humanity's best. I left nearly $1,000 in the hands of two strangers. And Rick Polhamus was like, Jerry, it'll be fine. And I'm, no, you don't do this, Rick. He goes, no, trust me, you'll be fine. Sure enough. And it wasn't just an illustration of protecting my money, it was about protecting my dignity as a human being, something I had never experienced truly to that level in the United States. And that began the process of transforming who I am and why CPT became so important to me. Over the next 20 days, I traveled with Rick and others, the dusty landscape of Palestine, the West Bank, and time again had my eyes opened. I don't want to share too much, because if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty, the nuance, the minutia of my spiel, I invite you to Tom Hurst's class in ethics, where it comes with pictures. But over that, traversing that landscape, the people time and time again taught me how to love. The day we were tear gassed, 2 Palestinian Muslims removed their gas masks so that I wouldn't suffer. The day we had dinner in a family's home that had been demolished twice, as the bombs are dropping on Gaza and we could see them, and families on the phone with them that are somehow trying to avoid the bombing, and he tells me stories that make me laugh, and he embraces his son, and it felt like he and I had a connection because Daniel was 6 months old. The day when there was blood on the ambulance because a 16-year-old had been shot and murdered right around the block from us, simply for speaking up against the oppression. And the ambulance drivers just looked at us and said, we thank you for your work. I had never witnessed, that kind of violence up close, but I had never witnessed or experienced so much love and acceptance and warmth and peacemaking just for being who I am. Probably the most embarrassing part for me was the realization that my tax dollars made that possible, made all of that war and oppression and violence possible. My tax dollars made me the enemy, and time again, the people treated me like one of their own. It didn't matter that I was American, white, Christian, male. They just saw someone that was in their midst, and they fed me, they cared for me, they loved me, they laughed with me, they cried with me, and they invited me to share their story. Before I get into my connection to unearthed peace, I will share this that I share with every time I talk to Tom's class. When you go to the Middle East, I'm going to give you a little nugget, a little teaching point. If you get invited to tea by a complete stranger, even your taxi driver, as Rick told me, a show of hands from you that would say, yes, I'll go. Complete stranger, you would still go. How many of you say, no way, I'm not going? Well, the answer is 100% positive yes, you will go. Every time. You're never going to be safer than you are in that person's home, having tea with them. They will protect you. The story of Lot illustrates the power of hospitality and protection of the stranger that is innate in that culture. And so we found ourselves in Bethlehem, and Rick doesn't always keep a timeline very tight. He's pretty flexible most of the time. And I had to go blog for On Earth Peace, who paid for most of my trip. And Rick said, okay, Jerry, you've got an hour and a half to get back here. And if you're not here, we're leaving you in Bethlehem, Manger Square. I said, well, I'll be back. I just got to blog real quick. I got to find an internet cafe. By the way, this is before high speed. So I had to find an internet cafe with dial-up. For those that don't know, dial-up is where you hit and you hope and pray that it connects. So I'm walking through Bethlehem. I found a cafe. I start blogging, right? But on the way there, I met a shopkeeper, who said, hey, will you buy some stuff from me? I said, no, I don't have time, but I promise you, with my fingers crossed, I'll stop back on my way back, knowing that I had no intention of stopping. My friend Stacy and I were like really needing to go work. We had to get some stuff posted. On our way back, we're like, hey, can we just walk past the shop quickly, keep our head down? Maybe he won't remember us. And besides that, we had like 15 minutes, and we got to be back, and Rick said he would leave us. And we both looked at each other. Well, no, we gave him our word. We need to stop in. So we go in, and of course the spiel is, hey, we buy this, we buy this, we buy this. We're not interested. And then he goes, will you have tea with me? And we looked at one another. At this point, we're already pretty much late. We don't have cell phones to call Rick and say, hey, we've been hung up. You told us to say yes to tea. And we're like, well, Rick said we have to say yes, so we said yes. Now, when you get tea in that part of the world, what do you think? Is it sweet tea or unsweet? It's all sweet, and it is loaded with sugar. And so Muhammad, who at the time was 25, this 6'4", beautiful human being, sat down and he goes, you know, I know Americans don't all like sweet tea. Would you like unsweet tea? So not only was he inviting me to have tea with him, he was so sensitive to my palate that he was changing his own custom so that I would have something I might enjoy more. I said, sure, I would love to have unsweet tea. And so Stacy and I sat down, they brought chairs out, and there were 4 of them around us, and Muhammad begins to tell his story. And I promise, this is all connected to CPT and OEP. And Muhammad was once dreaming to be a doctor. Great student in high school, had planned to go to university, had all these hopes to come back and influence his community and be a medical doctor, and he could have done it. But when he was in high school, he was told that if he leaves the country, Israel won't let him back in. The best university for what he wanted to go to was in another country, and he could leave, absolutely, but no promise he would ever get back. So he chose to go to classes, university near his home, so he could stay and help. His first year, this is the expanded version, Tom, you don't get this every time. First year in undergrad, it was during a lockdown, during a curfew in Bethlehem, and his brother made the mistake of going out when he wasn't supposed to. Do you imagine what happened to his brother? Shot and murdered by the Israeli soldiers for stepping out at the wrong time. About 6 months later, the Israeli soldiers knocked on his door. They drug his dad out and beat him so bad he could never walk again for hosting and housing terrorists. Muhammad begins to weep. This beautiful 6'4", 6'5" man, this chiseled from stone human being, begins to weep in front of 2 complete strangers whose tax dollars make this happen. He begins to weep in front of us. He goes, I had to quit my dream of being a doctor so I could take over the shop and take care of my mom and my family and my dad, because nobody else could do it. And he's just, anger is rising, understandably, by the way. And he goes, some days I just want to strap a bomb to my back and walk into a square so that I can be seen and I can be heard and people will know what's going on. At this moment, Stacy and I get a little tense. And he goes, but I'm never going to do that because it'll dishonor my family. Let that sit with you for a second. The images and the stories we're given isn't real. It's not true. The people who are working really hard to make a difference do not want to dishonor their families. They don't. They're trying everything they can to change a system that will not be changed without help. So then he looked at us, and at this point we're both weeping, and he goes, if you want to help, tell my story every chance you get. So Muhammad, I have honored my promise to you. In the last 17 years, I've told his story at least 100 times, and I will continue to tell it. I will continue to tell it. I pray he's still alive, but I have no promise of that. There's no guarantee. I want you to realize that we benefit from the true insulation of living in the United States. We live from the benefit of privilege. And yes, for those who are white, straight, middle class, we benefit from the capitalist society that we've created. But it has not come without cost. It has not come without harming others more vulnerable, more at risk in our world. And we are a global community. For us to think otherwise is to dismiss the injustice that is happening all over this planet. So when I asked if I would share about CPT and Honor with Peace, I absolutely jumped at the chance. Because we need to know. Learning truly leads to change. About 3 years ago, Marie once again came up to me, and she said, hey, there's a spot on the CPT steering committee. Are you interested in serving? Phil Miller has been in that role for 10 years, and there's some changes happening, but would you consider being on the steering committee? Well, I'll think about it. She goes, I know how much you love CPT. Would you be considered the OEP's representative on the steering committee? Yeah, I didn't hear from her for a couple of years because there was some changes going on at CPT with directors and some stuff that needed to be dealt with, and they're dealing with it in amazing ways, folks. About 6 months ago, she reached out to me, and she goes, are you ready to be on that steering committee? Because Honor with Peace is ready to partner with CPT again. Sure, what does it involve? A meeting once a month in the morning, and occasionally twice a year you have a longer set of meetings. I said, sure, I can do that. I can do that because during the day, the mornings are perfect for me. I can just set that time aside on my calendar, no big deal. She didn't tell me that the first set of meetings I'd be a part of, 15 hours. For those of you that know me well enough, those who've been the board chairs while I've been here, meeting is not my strength. 15 hours on Zoom calls, definitely not my strength. But we're on Zoom calls with everywhere in the world. Colombia, Palestine, Greece, Canada. And I see this global community coming together trying to ask the same question. How can we make a difference? What can we do to make it better? And at the end of the first set of meetings, it was brought to our attention, this is the 40th anniversary of CPT, and it's a chance to really promote giving and investment and interest. And so in a moment, we're going to watch a video called Light that CPT is using as a promotional tool to encourage you to give. I know you're all giving, and you're all doing your best financially, and we appreciate you for that. But CPT has taken a hit recently, not just because of some leadership changes, but because they chose to be more inclusive with their title. They decided that Christian is too exclusive, and it doesn't necessarily name all the work they're doing, and they felt community reflected more of who they wanted to be. A lot of churches pulled their funding because they chose to be inclusive. A lot of big donors chose to quit giving because they chose to steer away from a very narrow understanding of peacemaking and to open the door. They also chose to quit being colonizers in their approach to peacemaking and to partner with communities asking for help, to empower communities in a more sustainable model. And when they chose to be partners and not what we would say is colonizers, they lost funding. Because isn't the purpose of Christian Peacemaker Team is to bring everyone back to Christianity? No, it's not. Our job is to partner with communities to create a more just and peaceful world so that nobody has to go to school worrying about getting rocks thrown at them or urine thrown at them or diesel fuel thrown up. And I'm not talking about college students, I'm talking about 8-year-olds. Where I met Art Gish was in a little village on the West Bank, where his job was to walk with 8, 9, 10-year-olds trying to go to school, all while settlers would launch rocks at them, at kids, and launch 2 liters of urine at kids. And we recognize as CPT that we can't convert, we have to partner with. And so that change has come, but it's come with a cost. And funding has been hit directly by this change. And so I come with my Honor Peace hat and my CPT hat, and I ask you to watch this video and to consider in some way CPT and the work that you move forward in justice and peace.
Light is hope, a source of safety during the darkest times. Light enters every home like a gentle breeze, dispelling the night and bringing forth new days. Light alleviates our burdens and chases our pains away. In a place where all other elements are controlled and rationed, perhaps our light is the one thing that cannot be taken, untouched by the trials of life, illuminating both beginnings and endings. We chose the name Dou, or Light, for this film, to shed light on the stories of the people of Hebron, keeping the light of hope alive.
Brethren, on behalf of CPT Columbia, we want to thank you for welcoming us into your space. My name is Pierre Schantz, and I'm a full-time core member of the Columbia team here. And I want to welcome you into our space, into our home office, to show you a little bit about what is it we do and where we do it. So welcome, come with me. So here you can see we have several bedrooms, as I said, where people are able to stay, and we provide hospitality for members of the communities that we accompany when they need to come into the city for meetings or on transit on their way to other places. So we are able to provide hospitality. And here is our common area where we're able to enjoy meals or spaces where just to sit and meet. And as you can see, this is our kitchen and where we are able to prepare our meals and enjoy times of fellowship together. And as you come here to the backyard, we have, when things cool down, we're able to enjoy this backyard space to socialize together and spend time together. So welcome to our office space, where the work to support our communities, to support our partner communities and organization happens here in the city. As you can just see around, it's a typical office where we have our whiteboard for agenda for meetings. We've got posters in solidarity with other processes around the world. We have our whiteboard for calendar to keep our time organized. And you can see workspaces throughout the office, some a little bit more organized than others, depending on who's occupying the space. And I want to point out one of the most important tools that we have at our disposal is our trusted, friendly air conditioner unit. As here in the city of Barrancabermeja, we have very hot temperatures all year round. And this provides a cool and healthy environment for us to be able to do the work. So now I'd like to share a little bit about what is the work that we do here. So CPT, this year, we are celebrating 25 years of being here in Colombia. We arrived here in April of 2001 with the goal of accompanying the small rural communities and human rights organizations who have been struggling to defend human rights and to defend their right to remain on their land and to work and control the resources of their territory. Colombia has lived a 60 or plus year armed conflict that has several actors, whether the armed actors such as the guerrilla groups or the paramilitary groups and the state armed forces, but also economic interests such as large multinational corporations who are looking to come and take the resources from Colombia. So CPT, we try and accompany these organizations and communities in three different ways. We have the physical accompaniment, which is where we put on our uniform, our blue vests and our red hats, and we physically go to the communities or accompany the human rights leaders in their work. And that is a way to tell the violent actors that the people that we partner with are not alone. As the commandment says, is to shine a light in the darkness. And people who want to commit acts of violence prefer to do it in the darkness and prefer to do it where no one will know about it. And so as an international organization accompanying our partners, if something happens to them, we use our networks of support to denounce and to publish what is happening. And so people, the violent actors, are less or think twice before committing an act of violence if they know that we are going to be able to make it known what they are doing. Also, we provide political accompaniment, and that is doing political advocacy on behalf of our partners and helping to open doors, often with meetings with government officials, or pressuring the government officials to fulfill their constitutional legal duties in protecting and guaranteeing the fundamental rights of the communities that we accompany and our partners. And this also means growing and having our network of support, such as people like yourselves, to participate in advocacy campaigns, whether writing emails or making phone calls on behalf of our partners to demand justice for them. And also we have an element of pastoral psychosocial accompaniment. And that is where we tell our partners that they are not alone. When you are struggling with something difficult, when you feel alone, it's much harder. But simply telling our partners they are not alone in their struggle, that we will walk with them and that we will try to help them figure out the best way to overcome the threats and the violence that they're facing, that gives them encouragement. But also knowing that people like yourselves are part of this network of supporting them. They are encouraged knowing that they are not alone in this struggle. One of the communities that we accompany is called El Guayabo. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you've read about it on some of our social media posts, on our articles. This is an amazing community. This is a small community of approximately 300 families, and their struggle started back in 2002 when they were threatened by right-wing paramilitary groups and they were displaced from their land. And then later in 2012, when they started a legal process to get legal titles to their land, and someone with the help of corrupt government officials came and with corrupt eviction notices and eviction orders, they threatened the community. The community suffered approximately 3 or 4 evictions, violent evictions where the riot police arrived, but always persisted and returned to the land. And with the support of all of you and of our networks and our accompaniment, and the community was able to remain on the land. And now today, they have been recognized by the National Office of Land Restitution. And their case is now before a land restitution judge, who we are very hopeful that soon this judge will rule in the community's favor and give them full legal rights to the land. Through all of this, through all the pain and suffering of threats and displacement, El Guayabo recently celebrated a beautiful example of love and celebration. Chela and Eric, 2 of the main leaders of the community process, celebrated a beautiful ceremony of their marriage. They were married. And we were there to accompany them in that beautiful moment. We want to thank you for your support, whether it's been through prayer support, political advocacy, and your donations that make it possible for us to be here. As I showed you the house and the office and everything that we have here, and traveling to the community to be present with them and to support them through their process. All of this requires resources, and we are only able to do that through your continued support. And so we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, from all of us here in Colombia, from all of us here in CPT. We want to thank you, and thank you for opening your space to us, for us to share with you the work that we do here. Blessings to you.
We've been sitting for a little bit, so I'm going to ask us to stand for this responsive litany of commitment. And I will share that in April, I will get to hear an update from Colombia, how things are going, and I pray that we get great news. May God bless you with a restless discomfort about easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships. May we seek truth boldly and love deep within our hearts. May God bless you with holy anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people. May we work tirelessly for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with the gift of tears to shed with all who suffer. May we reach out to those who ache, who are rejected and starving, bringing comfort And may God bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you really can make a difference in this world. May we, with God's grace, do what others claim cannot be done. You may be seated. As you go forth, may the light of God shine upon you and guide your hearts, your hands, and your feet in the ways of justice and of peace. Please rise for our sending song. Please be seated for the sending words. We as a congregation, as a community of faith, recognize that we are in Black History Month, that the dreams of a king remain unfulfilled, unrealized, and the work undone. In an age when the President of the United States photoshops and doesn't apologize for the racially charged images he posted online, the work is yet undone. But peace begins with us. The dream is still a dream, and it can still be realized. It is in our hands to make it happen. Will we descend into cynicism and anger that is not justified and hopelessness? Or will we ascend into dreamers that believe it is possible? It begins with us. It is our job. It is our hands that will be used. It is the work we have been called and blessed to. Will we be dreamers? Because the world needs some. I want to end this morning as Roger makes his way forward to remind you of another connection to CPT, and that is Christy Krause is the Church of the Brethren representative on the steering committee, and I get to see Christy twice a month now, and she's getting ready and planning a wedding of her own. And she's amazing and doing great work in Colombia. But another brother of mine who is on my delegation named Jakob Fer, who this summer, my son, who Jakob has only seen pictures of, will get to spend a day with as we go and spend time with Jakob and his partner and his family. We want to end this morning with an Arabic blessing. Roger?
Will you join with me in these words of blessing? Allah, Nina Mashidero Bukono, Shalom Bitak, Shalom Bitak.